What is up, everyone? I'm coming on here for a couple of plays for the day. We just got done with college football Saturday. There was a lot of very close games. There was a lot of hits that we did go ahead and take away. Mainly these two 8Xs right here. We had Counter-Strike Correlation hit for us, I believe this morning, like early in the morning, probably like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. And then this Miami game with Florida State game. Very close entry by Carson Beck, honestly. He was at 236 pass yards, so 0.5 away for about 10 minutes in this game, and I was going to be so mad if he did not get one more pass yard. Luckily, he gets one more pass for about 5 yards and does cash the over. I was so scared that they were not going to pass at all again because, again, they were winning by a lot, but they do go ahead and pass a lot. This goes ahead and cashes for us. This play right here, 8X, again, for a beautiful four-man for us to hit. Texas Tech quarterback has been amazing this whole year, and this first half, guys, he throws for 261 yards in the first half. Absolutely incredible stuff. And then same thing with his number one receiver, does very well. Of course, if your quarterback's going to throw for close to 300 yards in one half, then your receivers also are going to get fed like crazy. Same thing with Sawyer Robinson and Hawkins. They were actually down in this game in the second half, so I took their second half overs, and that is something that we kind of do throughout the day. We take second half and stuff because if a team is behind in a game, they're going to throw more and more and more, and if a team is ahead in a game, then they're actually going to throw less. And here's actually a good example of that. I didn't mean to get into this play too fast. I don't know why it's doing that, but you'll see here Fresno State versus Nevada. This game actually just finished up, and Fresno State was up by 20 to 3 at halftime. So I knew Fresno State was probably not going to throw very much anymore because they were up by 17 points, and that is pretty much what happened. I think they only threw like 4 other times in that second half because they were up by so much. Nevada kind of crawled their way back, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they were up by 17 or 20 points or whatever it was. So EJ Warner only throws for 43 yards. I don't know why this entry looks so weird, but anyway, that is a setup for tomorrow for Counter-Strike, I believe, or maybe it's Valorant. Counter-Strike for us for a correlated entry. And real quick, guys, if you don't know what we do a correlated betting strategy, okay? And this betting strategy has generated us profit over the past 18, 19 months that I've been doing this on this channel. I also have a VIP where I send out about maybe 9 to 12 plays a day with this exact strategy. It kind of differs. Sometimes I send out maybe 7 plays. Sometimes I send out more like 10 because it's football weekend. And we are up this summer, so I know it's fall now, but since May 1st we are up about 90 to 100 units using this exact strategy. So far in 2025 we're up about 200 units, and then this time last year we were up, well, I don't know why this even matters, but this time last year we were up pretty much 280-30 units by this time. But here's what's important. Last year, guys, we went up between October 1st, which was a couple of days ago, to the end of the year, we went up 300 units, okay? And it's pretty much just because this is a very, very important time in sports betting, especially in the correlated strategy that I do, because NFL and college football are such a big part of our strategy. I mean, this is go time. There's so many plays flying around. There's so much value every single day. I'm so hard at work finding plays for you guys. I do want to say we are set up very well tomorrow. We have this play set up for us in the Baltimore-Houston game. This play set up in the Detroit and Cincinnati game, and then we do have this, like I said, set up in Counter-Strike, I believe. So I also will say it's not everything hit, everything under the sun hit. I don't want to come out and say that everything hit because it definitely didn't. Everything is tracked, of course, and we had some very, very close ones too. I showed this one yesterday, but the BYU player barely goes over. Right here was something I honestly don't know, but this one right here was very close. These two very close. This one obviously misses by 1. This guy right here was the only player on his team to go over. It was very frustrating because it was in the first quarter. They throw a 25-yard pass. Drake Lindsey obviously is the one throwing that ball, and Drake Lindsey finishes with 94 yards against Ohio State. So I obviously knew Ohio State was not going to allow very many yards versus Minnesota, and that's exactly what happened. But unfortunately, Gears, however you say his name, ends up getting one catch for 25 yards in the first quarter, and then Ohio State tightened up. So this one easily could have hit. I mean, we had a lot that could have easily hit, guys. And I am talking a lot. I am going over a lot of stuff, but that's just because we had a ton of entries today, and we're gonna have even more entries. Not even more, but we're gonna have a ton of entries tomorrow as well. Real quick, going over just rounding up the going over. This was actually a play that I sent out Friday morning to you guys, and these are the plays I sent out on this YouTube channel here, and I actually have more plays today for you guys for NFL. But I did send this FSU duo, and then I sent Caden Salters under. We always take Caden Salters under. He always hits for us. FSU, unfortunately, these guys barely go over just because they had the drive right before halftime. And if you have the drive right before halftime, you obviously have the clock working against you. So then FSU was kind of changing their game plan. They threw a lot, and Tommy actually threw like maybe 30 or 40 yards in that last drive, and some of those were to Deuce Robinson. So this was very close. Could have went either way. You guys see that they're ahead of their lines by like 10 points. But this is exactly what we want to see, right? If you guys haven't realized yet, we take a lot of quarterbacks either over or quarterbacks under, and we pair it up with their number one receiver to go over or under together with the thought process that if a quarterback is doing extremely well, like Texas Tech quarterback, and he throws for like 300, 400 yards, then everyone on his team, like his number one receiver and such, is going to go way over. And if a team does really poorly and the quarterback does really poorly and maybe only throws like 90 yards, 100 yards, whatever it is, then the number one receiver is obviously going to go under. Real quick, going to go over this very quick, and then I have 4 picks today in today's video for NFL, and also there's 3 NFL picks that I gave out yesterday that I'm going to also just briefly go over so you guys have a refresher on them. But these were the ones that I gave out yesterday on college football. We went 3-2, which is pretty decent. I mean, it's not like the best thing ever, but 3-2. I mean, we were technically positive. I'll say with the Blake Horvath one, that one was just straight up a bad call. I'll put my hands up in the air about that. He absolutely crushed it over the air. Diego Pavia, I think honestly could have probably went over. He just needed really one more touchdown, and they had like a long run that went for a touchdown. I thought he was going to get a rushing touchdown is really what I was banking on, and he didn't do that. Marcel Reed, great call there. I told you guys it was way too high, and it just straight up was way too high. If his line was like 41 or 40, I would not have taken his under, and it wouldn't have hit. But because his over was legitimately the highest quarterback's over for longest completion, I took his under at 45.5, and it does hit. The Texas Tech quarterback, I already kind of went over him. That was amazing. And then my favorite play of the day yesterday, as I said, because I led with it, was DJ Lagway over 11.5 fantasy score. I'm a Texas fan. I have the Bevo above me. I'm not happy about the game, but DJ Lagway, he did his thing, and I said this line just straight up was way too low. So the line was just straight up too low for him, and that's why we took the entry. It's not because Texas or Florida or whatever. 11.5 was way too low for Lagway. It just straight up was. So real quick, guys, if you do want to get into the VIP, above me there's a banner that says sign up for Rebet. Actually today only, today and tomorrow. So by tomorrow night, I'm going to just move this back to 1 month, but you will get 2 months free of my VIP for signing up for Rebet. Rebet is an app that is available in 46 out of 50 states, and you can get Rebet. There's a really good chance if you're watching this video right now, you don't have Rebet, and you can sign up for Rebet, get 2 months of the VIP. Who does not like that? I will say the instructions are literally right here. You have to deposit $10 into Rebet. It's as easy as that. Again, everyone thinks that they're like losing the $10. You're not losing the $10. You're actually getting matched on your money on Rebet, so you're technically going to have $20 into Rebet, and then you can bet on Rebet, so you can take bets and stuff. And again, who doesn't like to bet? We also, I send out plays on Rebet to my VIP. So if you have the VIP for 2 months, then you'll also have Rebet. Again, like 95% of my picks are on Prizepicks, so don't worry about that. But some picks are going to be on Rebet also, okay? Real quick, play of the day on Rebet, moneyline Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not going to go over that too much, but Tampa Bay Buccaneers money line, that's going to be the play of the day on Rebet. So you guys can put the $10 on that or whatever you want to do. And yeah, sign up for Rebet, guys. Again, the instructions is just texting me the word Rebet to my number here, and I'll give you guys those instructions, give you guys my link and my code, and then you can do that very quickly. All right, also very quickly, these were the plays from yesterday's picks. Hurts under, Dak Prescott over pass attempts, and then Andre Schmidt to go under kicking points. And I don't know why this turned into like a demon prop or something. I don't even know what that means. Why did it turn into a demon prop? Because they can't even be unders on Prizepicks, so I have no idea. I think it's off the board, so it looks like you can't take that anymore. But these 2 plays I still really like, and I would still really take them. If you want to hear explanations, just watch the end of my video yesterday. All right, guys, so let's get into the plays of the day on Prizepicks. Again, I know my intros are very long-winded, long-winded on the weekends especially, but I think it's really important to go over my entries because I would tell all these people and they never would go over their entries. They would never talk about why they took the entries, the strategy behind them, and then they would always just act like they won absolutely everything. So hopefully you guys appreciate that, when we win, I'm going to be happy about it and I'm going to be like, this was a good call, but when we lose, I'm also going to be like, yeah, we lost, and this is part of the strategy of us losing, right? So that's also important to say. So first pick of the day, probably my favorite one. Let me look here. Yeah, my favorite pick is going to be Jackson Dart over 7 rush attempts. This is going to be my favorite prop of the day here. Again, he has only played one game. So he played one game against the Chargers. He looked really good running the ball. Who did he kind of look like? He kind of reminds me of someone, but he's kind of this like bruiser running quarterback guy. They actually ran with him a lot more than I thought they would in this Chargers game. And the only reason why I would maybe not want to go back to this is if I think that they are not going to win the game. Because a lot of the reason why he was running a lot versus the Chargers is because they were winning the game. So when you're winning the game, he took some like QB draws, and he had a lot of like QB-centric runs around him, which I was really surprised by because in college, he wasn't really like a super running quarterback. I watched him very closely in college. If you watched me last year, we took Jackson Dart over with Trey Harris pretty much every single week. It was super correlated together, and it hit for us pretty much every single week. And I love Jackson Dart. He's a great player and one of my favorite players. But we're going to take him over rush attempts. And again, they're playing the Saints. So they could definitely beat the Saints. They could be winning versus the Saints by like 10 points. And then he could do some more of those QB runs. At the end of the day, I think a lot of these young quarterbacks, they use their legs quite a lot, okay? They use their legs quite a lot. Actually, a bonus pick for you guys is actually Cam Ward over rush attempts also. I was kind of looking into this one. It's not going to be like an official play, but I do really like this one too. I think it's too low at 2.5. You could also take his over rush yards if you wanted to also. I think this is also good. Whatever you wanted to take, I think those are both good. I'm not counting that as an official one, but that one's a little bonus one for you guys. My second one is actually going to the Titans, and I'm going to take Calvin Ridley over 35.5 receiving yards. Now, I'm just as frustrated with Calvin Ridley as you guys are too. I don't know. I have him on my fantasy team, and he is absolutely horrible. He does nothing, and I understand that he has really done poorly this year and been a huge letdown. But 34.5 is way too low for me to turn down. A lot of times you'll look at his line, and he'll be in the high 40s, the low 50s. And 34.5 for a honestly definitive wide receiver one on this team is extremely low. Okay, I know the Titans are kind of a nasty team, and really no one on that team is producing right now. But if you go through any wide receiver one in the NFL, guys, they're in the 60s or the 70s or the 50s. Okay, Michael Pittman, probably one of the weakest wide receiver ones in the NFL because he has like Tyler Warren and Josh Downs and just a lot of people. His line's still 55, right? AJ Brown, right? He gets like 2 targets a game sometimes. His line is close to 60, okay? You have all these wide receiver ones, and again, I could go through all these players, but every single wide receiver one in the NFL, guys, is going to be between 55 to like 75 yards. And Calvin Ridley at 34.5 is extremely low, okay? You have some wide receiver twos and some tight ends at this line, and Calvin Ridley, even though it's hard for me to believe in him because he's done really poorly, he gets targets. And at the end of the day, targets is what matters. He didn't get many targets versus the Texans, but he gets a lot of targets, right? 8, 6, 7 targets is a decent amount of targets for a NFL receiver. He just has not been hauling them in very much. You can see he only hauled in like 3 of the 7 targets or whatever it is. And I think that's going to kind of revert back to the mean, if that kind of makes sense, right? So third play of the day, and then I actually just have 4 plays today for you guys, but third play of the day here is going to be Quinshawn Judkins, and I'm going to take him over receiving targets. Now, I'm actually seeing a lot of people taking him over receptions at 2.5, and you can actually go on some apps like Underdog Fantasy and Chalkboard, and you can see his reception line, and it's close to 2.5. It's like 2.5. It's like I don't know how to explain it. It'll like give you more of a payout if you take the over 2.5. So it's not like he's going to get 2.5 receptions, but 2.5 targets is something that I think is super, super achievable, okay? So if you look at his reception line at 2.5, you'll see that it's actually a demon prop right now, but it's not like one of those crazy demon props that's going to give you a crazy multiplier. You'll actually see if I add it to this one right here, it's giving me a 6x, which is a normal 3-man. I guess what I'm trying to say is his reception line and his receiving target line is like the same thing right now. So obviously he's going to likely get, like, if you get a receiving target, you're also going to get a reception. So he might have 4 receiving targets and he might only have 2 receptions. So I'm going to take him over receiving targets because I think there's a big discrepancy there. I could go into Dylan Gabriel and all that, and there's a little bit of points in that. I think Dylan Gabriel is actually going to do a little bit better than people think. And I think he's probably going to throw some checkdowns, right? I mean, that's what young quarterbacks are going to do. If Dylan Gabriel is smart about it, he's going to throw to checkdowns to just safe plays and just try to get some yards that way. Quinton Judkins actually really surprised me with his receiving back kind of prowess. And you guys can see, some of these rookies, it's kind of hard to give a really in-depth thing with Dart and Judkins because we've only seen them for a couple of games. But at the end of the day, the real reason why I'm taking this is because his receiving targets and his receptions are the same line right now. Okay, so obviously I would take his receiving targets over than his receptions over, because if you get a receiving target, you're going to get it also. If you get a reception, you're also going to get a receiving target. I know I explained that really poorly, but hopefully that makes sense. Okay. And the last play of the day is going to be, if I can spell his name right, Mecca Ibuka, and this is actually who we took last week too, and I'm retaking his over. So I think his over last week was in the high 50s. Now it's 61.5. Who did they play last week? Okay, they play Philadelphia, who I actually think has a better defense than Seattle. And now they don't have Bucky Irving. So they have Chris Godwin now. Chris Godwin is actually their last game. They don't have Mike Evans, and they don't have Bucky Irving. And I think the reason why I'm taking his over once again is, first of all, I think he is the number one receiver on a very elite offense. Okay, I don't think people are giving enough credit to the Buccaneers this year. They are a very elite offense. They're up there with the Rams in my mind, to be honest. I think Rams, Buccaneers, I don't know. I mean, my mind goes to the Bills, but they haven't done all that much crazy stuff on offense. They've just blown every team out by 30 points. But yeah, those teams, they throw like crazy. They're the Rams and the Buccaneers are really the teams in the NFL. Maybe the Chargers that can get 300 pass yards a game. And Ibuka is going to be a huge part of this pass game. And I also think this is going to be a close game. So close games always mean a lot of passing because you're going to have to stay in the games. The one thing we don't want with overs, and this is a lot of what people don't think, a lot of people think differently than this, is we don't want a blowout, because if a blowout happens, you're not going to get any passing in the third or fourth quarter, right? We saw that with the Fresno State game, and it doesn't matter if it's Fresno State, it doesn't matter if it's a high school game. Football is football, and that is how it works. In the fourth quarter, if you're winning by 17 points, 20 points, you're not going to throw the ball anymore. So this is going to be a close game, Buccaneers and Seahawks. I believe, at least that's what the sportsbooks say. And Emeka Ibuka is going to be the wide receiver 1. We don't have Mike Evans. We don't have Bucky Irving. Baker Mayfield is going to have to throw to someone, and he's going to get 250 yards probably. So Ibuka is the guy who I'm taking over. I'm going to retake it, and I think Bucky Irving is a huge part of this passing offense. So losing him is a really big deal, and Ibuka is going to get a lot of those targets and receptions and all that good stuff because of that. All right. So these are the 4 plays. We got Dart over rush attempts. We got Calvin Ridley over receiving yards, Judkins over receiving targets, and then Ibuka over receiving yards at 61.5. Just realizing that all the overs, I'm taking all overs, but didn't really mean to do that. Just taking that. So going to lock that in for tracking purposes. One additional thing, guys, is I do want to say if you have stayed till the end of this video, I truly appreciate you, and it probably means that you kind of believe in what I'm talking about, right? You believe in what I'm talking about with correlation. If you don't, believe me, I have hundreds and hundreds of videos on this channel of me saying very similar stuff and me talking about the same stuff every single day. Last year, talking about football, talking about college football. I will say I'm running a massive discount right now that is expiring in 24 hours. So I just launched this, and if you are watching this video, you are the first ones to find out about it. And it is 60% off of my VIP plays up until Super Bowl 60. Okay, so you're going to get 60% off of my plays from today up until Super Bowl 60. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and text me. My number is right here. By the way, you can text me about anything. I'm always open to talk about betting or whatever you want to talk about if you have any questions. That's going to be 127 days of VIP, so that's a little over 4 months. So, guys, I know that it's it's $300, right? It's $330, and I know it's a lot of money. And what that is that boils down to about $80 to $85 a month. But I'm telling you guys, these last 4 months, October, November, December, January, and then early February, it's going to be when the Super Bowl is. These are the money months in betting. Okay, these are the money months in betting. I will say, we had a good week. We've had a good week so far. We had a lot of setups, but we are not even close to the potential we have had. bad. Hopefully you guys see this with all the 3 out of 4s and everything like this. I mean, this guy, he throws one less pass, we hit this play. This guy, he goes under, we hit this play. FSU guys, they don't throw like a couple more passes, we hit this play. And I know these are all like what ifs and stuff, but I'm telling you guys, this stuff is going to even out, and we're going to eventually have weeks where we're hitting 8, 9, 10, 9, 10Xs, 9Xs in a weekend, and it's going to be absolutely massive. We were doing that for a couple of weeks last year, and we just instantly go up like 50 units in a weekend or something like that. So, yeah, guys, that is going to be the pinned comment. You're going to see a way to get Rebet, and you'll get 2 months free of the VIP for that if you want to do that. And then if you want to lock in all the way up until Super Bowl 60, you can also do that 60% off, and that's going to be a little bit more, a little bit more than $300 to lock in for all of Super Bowl, all of my picks up until the Super Bowl. All right, guys. So it's getting late. I'm going to end it here, guys. Hopefully we can hit some plays in the NFL tomorrow and have a profitable day as always. And I will see you guys in tomorrow's video.